I get so excited when I'm organizing a space that I sometimes forget to show you the actual process. I want you to remember what this looked like 3 days ago when I came.
Holy, good God.
Everywhere that I look, I love.
So many of you love Jessica McCabe's makeover video from a few weeks ago. This is the biggest, most impactful makeover I've ever done. And it's Jessica McCabe, the famous YouTuber from How to ADHD's house. If you haven't already seen it, I'm gonna put a link in the description. You gotta check it out. It has all the feels. I was so just in love with this transformation that while I was there, I just wanted to show you lots of clips of their happy reveal.
I was so proud of what I did, and it was not nearly as good as this.
I didn't actually show you the process. Today is the secret sauce. Sometimes I wonder if I forget to show you this so you actually stick around and keep watching me, but no. Today I'm showing you the actual 3-step process that I use to keep a house tidy and organized all the time. And you're gonna be able to use this exact method for your home too.
Can I hug you?
Yeah, please.
Oh.
Oh, thank you. I am so overwhelmed.
I am so excited. We'll be overwhelmed and excited.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's start at step 1. When I walked into Jessica's main floor, immediately I wasn't just looking at mess and clutter. I wasn't asking what's wrong with this space. The first thing I have to ask is, what is the purpose of this space? What is the identity of this room?
I'm having a hard time finding time for my interests and hobbies and other relaxing activities that don't involve screens. And so I don't know. I don't know how to make this space work for both of us.
Sure, it's obviously a living room, right? A place where they can watch TV and I see gaming consoles, but what is it besides that? In talking with Jessica and her partner, I found out that they love musical instruments. They love to play a piano and the flute and guitar and ukulele.
This is floating. I love to play ukulele. My daughter loves it too. And so it just ends up floating around kind of in her toy area. And then I have a nicer one at my office.
But there was nothing in this space that said that. There was also a real love for board games. Both of them loved playing games together, and yet there wasn't a board game in sight. Look, there aren't any rules to how we have to set up a home, but we have spaces like living rooms and kitchens and bathrooms. It's up to us to tell them what their purpose is. And we can do this with visual cues to remind us.
Jess grew up playing Chinese checkers, so it was really important to her to keep this.
We have this. Donate.
Talk to her. That's a child. We got that after her mom passed.
This is irreplaceable.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to make it a feature in the space. So I found this awesome nesting table so they can pull it out and put drinks on it, inviting them to play Chinese checkers together. I'm just thrilled with how this is turning out.
So we walk in the space and it's immediately obvious what the identity of that room is, and the stuff in the room is telling us and reminding us what's important. The other half of this space needed to be an entranceway. This is where they came in and out of the home, so it had to have the purpose of storage for coats and backpacks and shoes and all the things that otherwise were just dropped and clutter. Next, I asked, are there any storage solutions in the space right now that reflect this room's identity and purpose? They had 2 large cabinets, but they were what I call doom cabinets, just filled with random stuff that didn't have a proper home. So here's the key. I didn't fight their natural tendencies. They needed breathing room, not cramped spaces.
I love that bag.
This is a really beautiful
Is that the one you got
bag.
I love this bag. It is the one I got in Italy, and I forgot about it. Yeah, I want this bag.
Yeah, cool. Where would you think to look for this bag?
On me.
No, but where would you think to look for it for Rizzles? What if I put hooks
Yes.
here? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a spot on the door that's eye level for the things you
Yeah,
love.
that would be cool.
Okay. But what I'm gonna do is install hooks for Jess because she's not a hanger person. Just 3M heavy duty hooks all the way along and on the doors. Just having a place for everything they use to get out the door and all the things they drop when they come home will eliminate 90% of the clutter on this floor. Done, quick, organized. It's amazing what just some 3M strips can do. Because they decluttered this space, it is now the most beautiful cabinet.
1, 2, 3, go. Oh yeah.
It's perfect.
Oh yeah.
It's exactly what I envisioned.
Now they have like the pride and excitement of their own personal spaces. Jessica bought this home on her own, and then Raphael moved in, and then they had a baby, and I think part of her was feeling kind of squeezed out. Neither one of them really had their own spaces where they could be themselves and it reflected their natural styles. So now, a simple thing like their own closets, his and her, is exactly what they need to stay tidy. But what about what these cabinets were used for before I turned them into landing zone coat closets? They were doom cabinets. They were just shoving everything into these cabinets. And the truth is, I have to still give them this. This is the secret. It's working with your natural tendencies in the home where you are naturally putting things down. They still needed doom cabinets. It just didn't have to be these giant cabinets. Instead, I found these very narrow, awesome cabinets from IKEA that had this mesh front, so they were still really visual.
Just all the things that they put down, now they're gonna put away. So I'm gonna go ahead and start filling this. I got little black baskets, and I'm definitely gonna have to remember to label so it's really obvious where everything goes, but I'd also like to leave an empty one. It gives them a place to put it that isn't contributing to clutter, because clutter attracts clutter.
It's exactly where they would naturally put it down, but it's categorized, it's zoned, and this is the secret to real organization, adapting your home to match your natural tendencies.
Right? So random meds, cords and cables, but also packages you have to open, or like
Oh yeah,
your
the
random,
packages.
your random stuff. Like instead of here, I'm gonna teach you how to train to put it in here so that this isn't signaling to your brain and taking away from this.
Jessica's natural tendency is to pile and put things down. So it was a little scary going with these cabinets because it did have a flat surface, which very quickly could be a place she just sets things down instead of putting it away.
You're gonna do this and it's fine. On the days where you're just not feeling it, you will. But then your timer goes off, you're gonna do this, and this trains muscle memory.
This is the secret. So every day, setting a timer for 5 to 15 minutes, and then going to this hotspot, picking the stuff up and putting it away. Repeating this daily, what this does is it actually trains your brain to, without realizing it, instead of putting it down, you'll start to put it away. I'm not gonna say that this happens overnight, but if you set a timer or even 2 to 3 timers a day and tackle your hotspot, muscle memory means that eventually, after a week or two, you will no longer need the alarm. You will just naturally be putting things away. Other little things in this space that I added were new bins underneath the TV. Also a spot for board games, of course. This is the secret, creating homes for the stuff that you naturally put down and have it reflect what you're keeping in the space. Also, of course, their daughter needed her own little landing zone, and at the door was the perfect spot for this. So some shoe organizers, some nice low hooks, that's all it really took. Because both Jessica and Raphael are visual, they needed visual cues, and they have ADHD, which means they definitely need visual cues. But the truth is, we all do. Your space needs to remind you of what's important. By clearing the clutter and only making the truly important things visual, now your home really works for you. Now your home is a reminder of what matters. It's those visual cues through working with your tendency that make a space truly home. Let's talk about upstairs. So unlike the main floor, upstairs, they had zoned purpose to this room. It was a kitchen, it was a dining room, and there was a whole section just for their daughter and her toys. But it wasn't set up for growth. I immediately realized there was nothing that was taking advantage of the vertical space. So the first thing I did was get really tall bookcases to go up so that all the toys were visual and off the floor.
They actually shifted this entire unit down.
She did it. She put her butt end back to it.
Anyway, not the point. We're gonna move this out and put the bookcases here to create like this awesome Montessori visual play
Nice. Yeah.
center. So, you feeling strong?
Yeah. What
Let's-
do you want to do next?
We're moving cabinets.
Oh, piece of cake.
I was told you're not allowed to lift anything.
Oh, yeah, okay. I won't lift.
So just like,
We've been lifting this all.
I know you have, but don't look, Raphael.
And then under this beautiful window, I just had some calyx shelving so that you could have big bins for those mess maker toys, for the things that are small and maybe you want to do toy rotation even, can be tucked under this little reading nook that it makes. So I'm a huge fan of calyx, but I also am a huge fan of making sure that your storage has room to grow. It's okay to have a little more than you need, especially when you have small kids, because trust me, they're gonna use it.
There was no real storage aside from a toy box before, so this is absolutely going to keep the entire space tidier.
I think where a lot of parents go really wrong when it comes to organizing toys is they're using the toy box method, which I hate and is a nightmare. When all the toys are put together without being categorized, it's a giant mess maker. When someone wants a doll or a truck, they literally have to make a mess to find what they need. They have to dump everything out to find what they're looking for, which is why playrooms are always chaotic. So giving everything one bin, like the category one labeled bin, means if they want play food or dress up or cars or Barbies, all of those things have their own container, which is very clearly obvious so they don't have to make a mess to find the toy they want to play with. Labels are also key, especially for kids, but honestly for everyone, because that's the visual cue. It's telling you what's inside the container. And when you label your different bins and baskets, subconsciously, you are way more likely to put things back in the proper place because it's like a magnet for your stuff. Everything has a home, and when it starts to get full, it'll be really obvious. So they'll know exactly when to declutter and what needs to leave so that it always looks just like this. I gotta be honest, in the kitchen, I was running out of time. And I didn't have the time to do all the things that I wanted to do, which means I had to prioritize. And when you are starting, like, where do I start and what should I do first? Always ask, what do I touch the most? What is the most important thing in this space? And in this kitchen, it was Raphael's coffee bar.
This is important to him, but that's normally where dirty dishes would go. So dirty dishes end up kind of getting piled everywhere. And then once they're like piled in different places, then it quickly takes over.
A bin of coffee was on the floor and there was tea stored everywhere. Just gathering it all into one place and zoning the mugs right beside it was life-changing. Sometimes it really is something small like this that can make all the difference. My goal in this kitchen was to just encourage laziness, really.
We moved the plates that were way over here closer to the dishwasher and the drinking glasses because it just makes more sense to walk a lot less, especially if you have ADHD, but even if you don't, laziness is the key to real organization.
And then I decluttered a cabinet and created a kids zone. This is how you keep things from getting out of control because it's just as easy to put it away as it is to leave it out or put it down because it's right there beside where you use it. So think about your own space and think about laziness. Where do you stand to use things and how can you walk as little as possible? So here's your takeaway. Here's your 3-step framework for transforming your home too. Step 1 is assess the purpose of your space. It's not just a kitchen. What do you do in this space? What's important? Do you bake? Do you love to cook? Do you love using lots of spices? Are you really into coffee and you need coffee zone? Do you need a homework station? Your kitchen has a ton of different purposes. So write them all down and really identify the main top priorities and start there. Make sure that those have proper zones where you can be lazy. That is step 1. Step 2 is assessing your storage reality. Take a look at what's working and what isn't working. Don't just look at what you have in the space or like what's behind closed doors. Take a look at the flow and the function of your space. Where are you naturally putting things down and piling them? And how can you adapt your home to kind of catch it where you're naturally putting things down? This doesn't have to be you remodeling or adding a lot of cabinets. This can be as simple as hanging a paper organizer on the wall right above where you naturally pile, or adding some hooks to the wall instead of dropping the coat on the back of the chair. Small tweaks often make the biggest impact. Speaking of assessing your storage, this is the perfect time to thank today's sponsor, ShelfGenie. ShelfGenie does exactly that. They take a look at your home and they adapt it to maximize every single square inch. Here I had this closet that honestly was supposed to be a coat closet for guests, but we didn't use it for that. So it was just a doom space. ShelfGenie came in and they said, what you really need is an overflow pantry. And they installed these custom pullouts with so much storage. So all the stuff that didn't have a home, that was just cluttering up my kitchen, now is a place to go. And all of this was like their idea. This is the thing I love most about ShelfGenie. They come to your home with a free consultation and they'll look at your storage and they'll look at what's working, what isn't, and how they can adapt the space you have. You don't have to have a full renovation. They can retrofit your kitchen, your bathroom, your closet, and give you exactly the storage you need. If you want to adapt your home and have really incredible dream storage, you've got to give ShelfGenie a try. I'm going to put a link down below so you can book a free consultation with a ShelfGenie expert near you. And last but not least, step 3 is organize for your brain type. Know yourself. Are you visual? Is it out of sight, out of mind? Or do you prefer hidden storage? Are you a really detailed person, or are you more laid back? Make sure that you are setting up a home to catch you on your worst day. Everyone organizes on their best day, where you're feeling like, you've just watched the home edit and you want to put everything and decant it into little containers. But is that really your style? When you're tired, when you're late, when you're coming home from the grocery store and you've got 5 minutes to make dinner, are you really going to pour the nuts into that container, or are you going to just shove it in the pantry? That person, your worst day person, is exactly how you have to set up your home. Your natural tendency to do things when you're rushed, when you're tired, and when you just don't have time. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of clients, and the favorite thing that I get told is that this time is different. I've had clients that have worked with other professional organizers, and while the space looked beautiful when they were done, I mean, sometimes they didn't love it, but while it looked good, it didn't last. It didn't stay organized. And this is what I hear from my clients is when I leave, months later, it's still working. Months later, it's staying tidy because it is made for their brain, because it catches the clutter the way they put it down, because I've adapted their home for them, not trying to force them to adapt to their home. And that's the difference. That's what I want you to take away from this video, is the steps to do that exact same thing. I'm chronically messy and I'm still a hot mess, but my house looks great because my home catches me. My home is designed for that. Me on my worst day can still keep it organized. I'm actually curious if you have a space in your home that needs this process. Let me know in the comments below which of your spaces you need to look at a little differently, assess the storage, identify the function and the purpose of the room, and organize it for your brain. I recently interviewed Jessica on the podcast where she talked about what was working after I left, what wasn't. It was so emotional, so incredible. Definitely check out that podcast. I'll put a link in the description below, but we're doing something different on the podcast where we're including you. I'm answering your questions and we're listening to your stories about decluttering and organizing and the weird stuff you've found. So if you want to be part of the podcast, this is so awesome. Just go to clutterbug.com/talktocass and record a message or ask a question, and you might be on the podcast. I'll put a link to the podcast. It's here on YouTube. It's awesome sauce. Don't miss it. Thank you guys so much for those of you who have stayed to the end. I want to give you a quick bee update. So we got the bees a couple of weeks ago, and when I came home with my nuke, it's called, to transfer them into the box, I put on my bee suit. They were like really sweet and amazing. And then while I was transferring them, I think I may have accidentally squished one because the trays are tight to go in. I don't know what happened, but they got mad, okay? And they started stinging me, and I started running. And what's really crazy is we've been back out there lots of times since. We were like building this platform for them and they were fine. I was right up beside them and they were fine. But as soon as I put on the bee suit, the girls get mad, okay? The girls don't like me, which means bees are smart and they remember. And I hope they forget soon. I've been trying to talk softly to them. But I think the most frustrating part is my bees are in love with Joe. Because of course they are. Joe doesn't even need a bee suit. Joe can go right up to them. They are just, he says it's his calm energy. I think they're just thirsty. You ever seen the Bee movie? When the bee falls in love with the girl and they have a romance? It's the weirdest kids movie ever, by the way. I feel like my girl bees are in love with my husband because just have to share. They love him. They legit love him. Not a big fan of me, but Joe can do no wrong with the bees. We'll see you guys next time. The Bee movie's weird.
Never seen it.